We're going to talk more about this now with Ellen Gainsford, who joins me live from the Louvre. Ellen, the museum closed again this Monday. What more do we know about what exactly happened and what's happening with the investigation?
Well, Jeannie, I can tell you that for the moment, it seems like there have been no arrests in this ongoing investigation. But we have heard from the French President Emmanuel Macron pledging that the culprits will be found and the jewelry restored. And, well, today in the French press, we've heard reports from France's Cour de Cassation, which is the Court of Auditors here in France. They've been looking at some preliminary findings of what might have gone wrong here at the Louvre. And it could have been to do with the lack of security infrastructure and apparently also a lack of a sufficient amount of security cameras. Well, to give you a little bit of atmosphere about what we've been seeing here today, there are people still thronging around taking pictures of the famous courtyard and the pyramid at the Louvre, but unfortunately no visitors will be allowed to enter today. We've heard that from museum authorities in person, speaking to their press officer earlier. And, we know that that's going to lead to a lot of disappointed visitors and some tourists who've travelled really quite a long way. I spoke to one lady who'd come from all the way from Oklahoma with her mother, who is now 70 years old and had been hoping on this trip to see the Mona Lisa, but unfortunately wasn't able to. So there's going to be a lot of disappointed visitors and tourists here today.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, here in Paris, as well as throughout the country, this heist is really being seen as a sign of perhaps a lack of security in France, particularly when it comes to some of the country's amazing artworks. So tell us a bit more about this and if French museums really do have a security problem.
Well, yes, Jeannie, exactly. We've heard from France's Minister of the Interior, newly brought into the country, and he's been saying that France is actually quite vulnerable in terms of its museums, and that's in the wake of a spate of quite high-profile robberies that we've seen here in the country. Just in September, there was a robbery at Paris's Natural History Museum, and that involved around 600,000 euros worth of natural gold being stolen. And in that same month, it was the Museum of Limoges, of the Porcelain Museum, around 6 million euros worth of objects were taken there. And we knew that French authorities were looking into installing security procedures following those robberies, but they obviously haven't happened soon enough to prevent this weekend's robbery. But we do know that luckily such high-profile robberies at the Louvre are relatively rare, the last one being in 1911.